got to be honest, I think that a lot of the time they don't seem to like you.
There's a lot of hard work and it's blood, sweat and tears. I don't know, if I suddenly get a guitar out, is it believable?
23.
Oh, that's really shit.
This is Your Welcome America presents Totally Scott Lee, Episode 1. I am Ben.
I'm Fraser.
Fraser like razor.
And for the next 8 weeks, we'll be recapping and reliving the MTV UK classic reality show, Totally Scott Lee. Woo-hoo-hoo! And you can watch along with us because all the episodes are on YouTube.
Fantastic. Now, first, for the uninitiated, we need to tell you what the show is. Totally Scott Lee follows Lisa Scott Lee from pop supergroup Steps as she tries to forge a solo career. Along for the ride are her family, the other Scott Lees, as well as manager Nathan, and of course, Michelle Heaton.
Villainess.
Okay, what happened? Quick overview. What happened in episode 1, Fraser?
Well, I'd say episode 1 really set the tone for what the show's going to be, which is the absolute savagery and evilness of everyone saying horrible things to Lisa Scott Lee. Basically, we really get a look at where she's at in her career, and it ain't great.
Let's do it. Let's get into it.
So it's a story of a family. It's a game of make or break, 'cause they all know how to get dropped. Lovely Lisa's got that solo, she's already been dropped. Husband Johnny's understanding 'cause he took off the chop. He's left it to a brother Andy, he was dropped but now he's hanging by a thread. At least he has Michelle, she's still his top of the pops. With Nathan managing beyond his brother beyond. It's a nasty game of fame and it don't come for free. No, not when you're Totally Scott Lee.
Okay, we're doing it. We're into it. Let's get going. I want to just say at this point in the show, you can follow us, of course, on Instagram. You're Welcome America. We've also set up a Twitter.
Oh. Yes, we have. I definitely know how to use it.
Our Twitter is You're Welcome USA. I think we have 9 followers right now. So just, let's get to double digits.
Wow, we are social media influencers. We really are.
Here we are, episode 1, eh? So the episode opens. Well, I don't know if our listeners already know this, but we are actually television producers.
We've barely mentioned it.
It opens with a cold open.
Or pre-titles.
Pre-titles is what they say in the UK, cold open in the US. This is like the bit that happens before the titles.
Yeah.
It's like the little tease. So this was fascinating to rewatch again in episode 1 because it is Zane Lowe doing a recap all about Steps. So kind of setting up the fact that, Steps were a big group, Lisa was in it, and now she's gone solo. How did you feel about this?
Well, so they set it up like an MTV news report, didn't they? So it's like playing on a little television, like a little television screen inside the screen, and Zane Lowe's kind of reporting on it. And I was like, oh, okay, so he's going to just like set us up. But I was like, oh, this show is mean because from the get-go, Zane Lowe's like kind of commentary is like he makes this comment about how they're in their 20s, and I think they were in the 20s at the time. So like he's like making it sound like they're all lying about their age for one thing, which is like, okay, harsh. And then he's basically like, oh, they've broken up, and he's like, oh my god, everyone in the world is going to be so devastated because Steps broke up. But at least
he says. I wrote down what he said. He said, adults, children, dogs, cats, goldfish, even the band members breathed a sigh of relief when they split up.
It's just so mean.
Like, what? And then also setting the tone of the show, when he's like talking about how big they were, there's a clip of Claire saying, yeah, Steps, we were like the Beatles in Belgium.
Did you notice they were being interviewed by Edith Bowman in that clip?
Edith Bowman!
She's another great character to add to your drag race snatch game list, by the way. I feel like you could do a good Edith Bowman.
It would be so underwhelming, my Edith Bowman. No.
I wrote a note for this beginning opening, and it just says, Zane Lowe is just for straight people, right? Discuss.
Well, he's for straight people and musos. Do you not think?
Yeah, which I think is straight people.
Yeah, but we're musos.
I know, but we would never call ourselves musos.
No, we would never call ourselves musos.
The only people that call themselves musos are straight and like Zane Lowe.
Got it. I also thought with him doing this, I was like, he must have been so pissed off that MTV asked him to do this.
Yeah.
But I feel like now, because he has his whole Apple podcast deal thing that he does, I feel like now, if I feel like he might interview Steps now or interview Lisa and actually refer back to this as a very specific moment in pop culture and talk about reality TV and pop music and all that kind of stuff. Don't you think?
Yeah, also try and get on the right side of history, because I think he came across pretty bad and pretty mean.
100% agree. Zane, you're on the wrong side of history and you got to make it up to us.
Wrong side of history, Zane Lowe. Oh Lord. Okay, well,
Okay.
this is the pre-titles, and then obviously we did just play the titles. But so should we just discuss what the titles look like and have a little chat about those lyrics?
Well, you tell me what it looked like, because I don't know if you know this, but I actually jotted down the lyrics. Did a lot of pausing of my YouTube clips. So you tell me what this title sequence looks like.
Fabulous. So it's almost done like a 60s kind of cartoon. So it's done a little bit in the style of like a kind of a wacky races, and you see the Scott Lee family all in a car driving down the street. And I think Matt who was watching it said that the credits looked like they'd been made with Elf Yourself. Do you remember Elf Yourself?
Oh yeah.
Which I think is the 2000s version of Face App, where you'd like put your face on some dancing elves. And this is very Elf Yourself.
What we should do is we should put this through Elf Yourself. We should put the Totally Scott Lee intro through Elf Yourself.
And put ourselves as like what Lisa and
hey, producer Bree from the Drag Race Canada podcast said that she thought it looked like The Nanny.
Yes, yeah, it's very The Nanny. Actually, you're right, and I would say it looks like The Nanny, and then the theme tune itself is like a direct kind of rip-off of the Brady Bunch.
Yes. I'm gonna read through the lyrics.
Read it. You know how in Crossroads when Britney pretended that she was reading "I'm Not a Girl, Not Yet a Woman" as a poem? I want you to do it like that.
And like the words are slightly coming to her for the first time.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay. So, here's a story of a family. It's a game of make or break, because they all know how to get, what's the word? Dropped. Lovely Lisa's got that solo. She's already been dropped. Husband Johnny's understanding because he too got the chop, which left it to her brother Andy, who was dropped, but now he's hanging by a thread. At least he has Michelle. She's still his top of the pops. With Nathan managing beyond, he's brother beyond. It's a nasty game of fame, and it don't come for free. No, not when you're totally Scott Lee. Thank you. So that really set up, because I know we have our American listeners and our listeners all around the world. That really set up who some of the characters were in the story.
Yeah.
I mean, it all centered around lovely Lisa, Lisa Scott Lee from Steps. And she'd had a solo, because Steps, they split, 2001?
Yeah.
Did we decide the other week?
I can't remember, but yes.
Yeah,
I'm
about
gonna just blindly
2001.
confirm.
So this is a couple of years later. She's tried to go solo. She's been dropped a few times. So that's Lisa. She's got her husband, Johnny. Now, Johnny, oh God.
Please use his full name.
Is it Johnny Chantel or Chantel? I can never remember.
Johnny Chantal.
Oh, Chantal. Sorry. Oh, Johnny Chantal. So he was kind of always around in the music scene, and then he replaced Kim Marsh in Hearsay, which is a whole thing to get into. Hearsay were the Eden's crush of the UK.
I think so, yeah. And he joined like just before they got dropped, which is obviously the reference in the credits. But famously, he was in the Hearsay single "Lovin' Is Easy," which is mine and Ben's one of mine and Ben's like friendship based songs.
I want you to know just how I feel, that the love inside is truly real. 'Cause baby, loving is easy.
Okay, then that left it to Andy Scott Lee. Now, Andy is Lisa's brother, and he was in a brand called 3SL with his brothers.
Yep, Three Scott Lee. They had a great song, Touch Me, Tease Me, blah, blah, which I think was a cover. And they got the chop. But Andy is dating Michelle Heaton. From pop sensation Liberty X, formerly just Liberty, had to add the X for legal reasons. So they were just to really get into the lore of this world. So hearsay that Johnny Chantal joined the later version of Liberty X were the 5 members that did not make it into hearsay. They formed a band, got signed by Richard Branson, Virgin Records. Please, everyone, Google the picture of them signing their record deal with Richard Branson. He looks disgusting. So the whole focus of the show, you will see as we go through it, is that she's on a meteoric rise to fame, whilst everyone else in this family is heading down.
Not. Yeah. I should draw like a one of those pictures, you know, the thing where you have like the faces and you connect them, like a family tree, basically.
I thought you meant like a crime scene thing, like in Homeland.
Both. 100% both. Okay, then we've got the manager, Nathan. He was originally in a group called Brother Beyond in the late 80s, early 90s? Late 80s?
I think it was 80s, yeah. And as you see watching this show, he mentions it a lot. This show really, really likes to highlight it.
Well, you know, it's a nasty game of fame, and it don't come for free. Well, not when you're totally Scott Lee. Really fumbled those words, but you get the idea. So that was the theme. We don't need to get into all of them right now, but just again, for help for our American listeners, who do you think the US equivalent of Lisa is? Because I was struggling with this earlier. Because I know the other week on You're Welcome America, shout out to the main pod. That's just me shouting out to ourselves.
Perfect. We'll shout out back when we record that later.
It's like a question and answer echo sesh. So you very, very expertly decided that Steps, the US equivalent of Steps, was High School Musical meets the 18s. So then I was thinking, does that mean Lisa is like Ashley Tisdale?
Yeah, because I think Vanessa Hudgens is far too successful. I think we're kind of thinking more the Tears, I think. Okay. Or maybe I'd think actually lower down, it would be one of those girls that wasn't one of the main ones. It was like, there was that girl that was like the nerd, maybe her.
Wait. Did the nerd have braces?
I can't remember.
Because if the nerd had braces, that would line up perfectly with Lisa's blue braces.
So post the credits, there was kind of like a little quick segment, wasn't there? There was no, because I broke these down into what I'm now referring to as scenelets, because they were not scenes, because they were very short. They were scenelets.
100%. I did the same thing. Yeah, a little thing came up on screen. It's like October 2004, and it's 5 weeks until the single release, isn't it?
Yeah, and it says, and then they captioned it Lisa's second solo deal.
So she must have been dropped from her previous solo deal. She's on the solo deal. She's 5 weeks away from releasing Get It On, which was a song she did in conjunction with, or like connected to Ministry of Sound.
In conjunction with. No, it's the Intenso project, which I was really not sure about what exactly the Intenso project was. Did you manage to get any information on the Intenso project?
I believe it's still going, that project. That project has not been completed and handed in and marked. But wait a minute, I think they were signed to Ministry of Sound, because this is like a Ministry of Sound single.
Right. Okay.
100%. Because I had this single. I bought this single way after it was released because I always quite liked it.
Wow. So I'm just going to quickly tell you, the Intenso Project are an English electronic musical group consisting of vocalist Ben Ofedu, DJ Rods, and...
Wait, Ben Ofedu? We know who he is.
Yep. Ben Ofedu is one half of... Well, he's actually one half of two different things. He's one half of Fats and Small, of the song, Hey, What's Wrong With You? And then also one half of celebrity couple Ben Ofedu and Vanessa Feltz.
Who is the US equivalent of Vanessa Feltz?
She's like kind of like a non-legal Nancy Grace.
The thing about Vanessa Feltz is that she's actually really quite intelligent.
Yeah, but she's kind of got that like intense. She's kind of got like it's like Nancy Grace, or like, who's that racist chef?
Oh my God, yes. Paula Deen.
She's like a non-skill specific Paula Deen or Nancy Grace, like a terrifying woman of a certain age who's like strong and powerful and intelligent and really funny and like a gay icon.
And is now all over like talk radio. It's very LBC.
Anyway,
oh God. Okay, so here's the thing. So when we pick up in episode 1, Lisa's about to release Get It On. Okay, how do you feel about this song?
It's fine. I liked her first single that she got dropped from, Lately.
I didn't mind Lately. It was very like Danny Minogue, put the needle on. Yeah, put the needle on it. I Begin to Wonder era. It was all, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I don't know which episode it was in because I did watch a couple of these just to get ahead of myself. But there is just a really small little moment in one of the scenelets where she's leaving her TV performance.
Oh no,
and
wait, save that for episode 2. I know what you're saying. That's episode 2. Let's just say lately does a bit of a TBT in the next episode. Okay, what I like, do you know what I thought was funny about Get It On as a song? Like, it's a bit of a shitty but fun song. The music video, I love a sexy garage moment / garage moment.
Shout out to our Girls Aloud episode where we discussed Long Hot Summer for about 1,000 years.
Well, it was long. It was a long and hot summer, so it kept on going on. But what I love about this song is it has the lyrics, because I want to hear my record on the radio, Get It On.
Oh no, I didn't know that.
Yeah, we'll come back to that lyric, won't we?
God, I mean, talk about foreshadowing for this whole show.
Right. Shall we go have a biscuit with Nana?
Yep. Are we going to head to the scenelet visit to Nana, as I called it? What did you call it?
Visiting Nana in Wales.
Actually, I think this is a very important part of it, actually, because I think she has a very strange accent if you're not from the UK, I would say, because it says that they go to visit their Nana in Rhyl, which is North Wales. And North Wales has a very specific accent that isn't as Welsh as people think it is. So like the Welsh accent that people do, like the kind of stereotypical Welsh accent, is very like South Wales, like the valleys and all that kind of stuff. But she has a very particular North Wales accent, very real kind of Wrexham.
Right. She's very flat and just speaks in one sort of level. And even if she's super excited or really upset, it's all just the same. Yeah. It's all just the same.
Oh, babe.
I mean, again, if you want to know more about Wales, shout out to the Charlotte Church episode of You're Welcome America.
So many shout outs to our own work.
Okay, so we're in Nana's house in Wales having tea and biscuits. Who's there in this scenelet?
So we're in this scenelet. The stars are, well, first of all, the main star of the scenelet is Nana's dog. Didn't catch the dog's name. So Nana's dog, Nana, we've got Lisa, and she's brought along Andy and Michelle. Now this scene, in case you weren't sure about how this show was going to be, especially towards the tone of it towards Lisa, this scene really, really gave it to her hard and nasty. So, well, let me just say, my first note was about Michelle Heaton's hair. I said that she looked like a cave woman. It was like this kind of, but it was like a stripy kind of, a striped badger meets a cave woman.
Yeah, I really appreciate that period of time when people would wear like really big, like women would wear really big like flared jeans that were tight up top, but then very flared at the bottom, but then wear it with like a spiky stiletto heel.
Yeah, just like, I mean? Peeking out the bottom, the front of your kind of, like a pump.
Yeah. Love that.
So I just say, before we get into the kind of full themes of it, just within this scenelet, there is a rivalry, which we only really get to see within this scenelet, which is between Michelle and Nana's dog. So at one point, Nana's dog is trying to get onto, like, I think trying to drink the tea out of Michelle's mug or something, or eat one of her biscuits. And Michelle looks directly down the barrel of the camera and goes, ugh.
Michelle hates this dog.
Yeah, thus cementing her role in the show, which is villain Michelle, as I'm calling her.
And also, they very subtly set up a bit of a comparison / rivalry between Michelle and Lisa. Now, bearing in mind at this point, Lisa's been in Steps and has clearly made at least a couple of £1 million, I would say, at least.
Oof, I'm not sure what's left.
I don't know. I trust. Remember, she ended up investing in Dubai. I think she was fine. Anyway,
like just investing in Dubai.
She bought an island. No, but like she bought one of those. Remember those islands, like the World in Dubai.
Oh, yes. Oh yeah. So do you think she bought like Wales?
I hope so. Just North Wales. Just North Wales. To your point. So Nana asks, like, Michelle, I haven't seen you recently, Michelle. What are you up to? And Michelle's like, oh, yeah, we're really busy. We're recording the album. And then Nana's like, oh, Lisa, what are you up to? And she's like, oh, I'm just busy with the single. So it's kind of like setting up the fact that Michelle is like, she's in a position where like they're recording a full-length album, whereas Lisa's out and about just trying to get people to buy this one song. It was just a very subtle little thing they were picking up there.
And then this is when we get one of the most kind of tragic scenes of television, which is when Lisa opens a Jiffy bag and getting out like a DVD to show Nana her new music video. Oh God, this broke my heart. So like Michelle's sitting there like, she's just signed that record deal. They're throwing money at Liberty X to make, pretty expensive music videos, especially that first album. I feel like Got to Have Your Love was filmed in like Barbados or something. And then Lisa can't get the TV to work. She's
struggling with those remotes.
She really is. She can't get that. She can't get the input right, can she? The input or the output. She's struggling with that. And then while they're watching the video, she tells Nana that she paid for it all herself.
I know, all completely self-funded. There was also a moment where Nana just says, like it's clearly being interviewed just separately, and Nana says, "This because there's lots of pictures of Lisa and steps everywhere," and Nana's like, "Oh yeah, we keep these pictures round for her. She likes to think we take an interest." That's a direct quote from Nana.
I think that I wrote down the word savage so many times in my notes for this episode, and I feel like this is just yet again another example of everyone just digging the knife into Lisa in every single moment that they can, within the editing and within the actual people saying things to her face.
and then also at the end of the video just ends, and her brother Andy just says, "Brilliant," and Michelle looks bored.
I was about to say they did an extreme zoom where she's leaning on Andy's shoulder, and she literally goes like. Because she's like, oh, wow. She's like, wow, Andy, your sister's video is shit.
Moving on to the next scene, let's 2 weeks until single release.
I called this scene club gigs.
I wrote gigs, then GAY. So there's lots of scenes here with like shots of like UK motorways, like, oh, she's traveling around. She's like, she needs to like, it's a real montage of her doing promo. I mean, UK listeners know, but US listeners, the UK isn't that big. So if you have to like jump on a motorway to go somewhere, it'll take you a couple of hours. Like, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like, it's not like she was like traveling, in a bus from like Whoopi Goldberg style from like New York to California. It was like she's just driving up the M1.
From like Rhyl to Manchester.
Yeah.
Oh, guys, I'm going from Rhyl to Manchester to Bognor Regis to Brighton. The glamour of it all.
And there's a part here, there seemed to be like this vague mention that she really needs the toilet, but she can't quite get to the toilet. Do you see that as well?
Yeah, it was just endless clips of her going, oh, I really need the toilet. Can I just go to the loo before we go on? Couldn't find the toilet.
Still haven't been to the toilet. And like a real crowning shot is like her getting to a people carrier in a car park.
Yeah, and so many shots of her on a flip phone. I mean, shout out to flip phones in this entire episode. Everyone is on a flip phone.
Although later on, I think Jessie got very excited because I think Michelle has a Motorola Razr.
Yes, there was definitely a scene later on where they're showing her taking a picture with it, and I was like, I would love to see the quality of that picture now.
like a really like one of those like one of those pieces of artwork that's been pixelated on purpose. You know what I mean? When it's blowing up, that's what it would look like.
And there's there's kind of some conversations with the Intenso project, as I'm now just going to casually drop their name like I could ever say that before. Lots of conversation with the Intenso project talking about kind of, like, oh, we're getting some good like buzz for the single. Like, I think we're going to do okay. Like, we're doing a lot of gigs. Like, Lisa's getting a lot of exposure. Like, I think we're going to be okay.
Yeah. And then because they sort of mentioned to her in the back of a car, shout out to Pizza Hut in the background. You can just see them drive past a Pizza Hut at night. And some rather bleak and drizzly UK high street, and they're like, oh yeah, we think it could be top 20, and she's like, oh no, don't. And the next day she like calls manager Nathan, and she's really like unhappy at the thought that it might only get into the top 20 because she says she needs a top 10.
Now, can we take a moment to talk about Nathan? Okay, I'm just gonna like say this because I didn't remember this at the time. He's really good looking.
He is really good looking. Now, at the time as well. Okay, wait a minute. What's his surname again? Nathan Moore. I was just going to write Nathan Brother Beyond. Nathan Moore.
Yeah, he can join the canon of people that you can put into the song "Gimme More." Nathan Moore, Demi Moore, Mandy Moore.
Okay, so if he was born in 1965, he would be during this period. How old would that make him? 40. He's about 40 here. He looks good, doesn't he?
He's hot. I mean, you have to, the 2004 of it all, he is wearing a lot of bad jeans and Burton's menswear, like striped, as we used to call them, going out shirts.
Oh yeah.
But that's not his fault. That's 2004's fault. Yeah, he's so handsome. Like I feel like the first time I watched this, I didn't really think about that. Maybe I'm just like a sad old desperate queen now, but I was just like, yeah, Nathan, he'd get it. He's hot.
But he's a complete cheeseball though.
Oh, absolutely. And like, I almost feel like he's not her real manager. Like, it feels like, for my cynical TV producer mind, he feels like he was cast in the show to play her manager because he's so he's another such tragic character on this show that I'm just not sure if he really was her manager.
He's like a character from The Office.
I mean, this whole show. There's a scene where they directly film something as if it was in the show The Office later, which is wild. But I think they filmed someone from behind a plant at one point, and I'm like, this isn't, guys, this isn't The Office. Like, we don't have to do this.
Well, in this scene, so she's in the call to Nathan. She's sitting on a sofa. A shout out to the radiator behind her. There's nothing more UK than like just seeing one of those white radiators on a wall. Do you know what I mean? It's like, even now, if I look at people's Instagram pictures, quite often there's just this giant, like this radiator there, and maybe some like clothes on it drying.
Oh yeah, one of those metal racks that you hook to the top of the radiator so that you can dry stuff over. I loved a drying rack like that. You can't go wrong with it.
Okay, at this point though, whether I think he is her real manager, because at this point, like, she's like, Nathan, you got to work harder, or like, he's like, I'm working my butt off, and she's like, yeah, well, Nathan, I give you 20%, and then he says, yeah, but Lisa, you haven't signed off on my latest checks.
Oh, so savage, so cutting, and just like exposing her. I feel like this isn't a great time to bring this up, but a lot of the comparisons of this show is The Comeback with Lisa Kudrow, and just that exchange was the most perfectly written, like, dark comedic scene from like something like The Comeback or like The Office, something like that, to be like, oh, this tragic figure is going to complain that her manager's taking money, and they just zing her right back saying, well, actually, you haven't paid me. It's some of the most like high art I've ever seen.
All Lisa's conversations with Nathan are
high art.
They are complete high art. They are.
Yeah. It's like Ricky Gervais like wishes he'd written this dialogue, like, truly.
And the way sometimes they overlap just perfectly, just some of the things they say, just, oh yeah, beautiful. Okay, anything else in this scene,
I know. I think I'm ready to move on to quite a beefy. It's almost a scene, actually. The next one. I think we can safely call this a scene.
Okay, I've actually, it's Lisa's birthday, but I've separated it into two because I've got birthday prep and birthday.
Oh, okay. Well,
because you're right.
I can see in my notes where it becomes the birthday, because my first note is everyone's clothes in capital letters.
Okay, so in this scene, Lisa is turning 28. We start off, I think they're in a hotel somewhere, and it's this scene where Johnny, her husband, Chantal, is hanging like a happy birthday sign. I've just written Johnny's hair.
Yeah, I wrote, let's talk about Johnny's hair.
Okay, great.
It's that very like Sonic the Hedgehog kind of spiky middle kind of, it's almost like a mohawk, like a punk mohawk, but it's a little bit more like softer at the sides maybe, and it's very like spiked up and goes all the way down and back.
Yeah, a bit mullety at the back.
A little bit, yeah. It's hints of mullet going on for sure.
I had this hair thanks to my beloved GHD mini stylers. They weren't the full size GHDs. They were the GHDs they looked like a dolphin's beak. And what I would do is I'd wash my hair, I'd towel dry it, and then I'd pop in a couple of Paul Mitchell gloss drops just into my hair, just to give it a bit of sheen, and then I would straighten it really severely, get quite hot in the process.
Yeah, get that dolphin's beak on there.
And then I'd put in some sort of wax. Now, I'm guessing you didn't have this hair because we've had many a hair convo before.
Yeah, as someone who has basically like almost full afro hair, even though I'm only mixed race, I couldn't achieve any hairstyle that I wanted during my teen years and my kind of early 20s at this time. So yeah, I was just gazing at all these kind of, dolphin beak mullets just with sheer jealousy. I just had a shaved head, as I've always had, because it's all I can have. So anyway, do you think Johnny Chantal is good looking? He's 2004 handsome.
He's very Sure. He's
He's like
very sturdy.
he's of the regions.
Oh, he's so of the regions.
Yeah, if I was like a young gal from like Liverpool, I'd want to marry someone that looks like Johnny Chantal.
Hair aside, he probably looks identical.
But
Now, yeah.
One of my favorite things about the this scenelet is Johnny gives Lisa her birthday card. Now, she says one of the most amazing lines of comedic comedy ever. As she's opening the card, she goes, "Oh, it's lovely, it's lovely. Is this the one from Smith's?"
Smith's WH Smith's is like, what's that? It's like Hudson News in the
Yes,
US.
it is.
Like
Yes.
Hudson News you get in the airport.
And they have a great selection of birthday cards. It's like a Hallmark kind of sized selection.
Yes. This scene was also just really sweet. There was a moment as well where she's talking like I think he's apologizing for not having got her a gift, and she's like, "Oh, that's all right, love. You've been really busy." And then she's talking about wanting to buy a jacket, and she says, "Oh no, but you know what? It's okay because I want us to go together because I really want your advice on the jacket." They are so sweet together, these two.
They really, really are sweet. And this is where he pops out, isn't it? Because he goes to leave because that's when she sees the newspaper on the doormat. Did you write that bit down?
Of course I did. Well, first of all, she cries. This is one of the many other times she cries reading the card. And then he's leaving the hotel room, and then she's like, "Oh, look, it's Mylene. That's a good one." And she's got a copy of the Sun newspaper, and Mylene Class is on the front cover topless.
She goes, "Oh, is she topless?"
But she says, "That's a good one."
I think they were at home at this point. I think they were in their front room because
were they?
They were at home. The party prep is the next thing we see when he's hanging up the banners, because they were at home for sure, because I wrote down that I wanted to talk about their light fixtures. But the problem is I didn't write down a description of it. So I've forgotten what those light fixtures look like. But I just want everyone to go back and have a look at them.
I'm sure they were beautiful. Also, I really love, if they are at home, I really love a bouquet of flowers that's been shoved into a vase, translation vase, but they haven't taken off the plastic wrapping, so you can barely see the flowers. Do you know what I mean?
It was her birthday. She was getting bouquets left, right, and center.
Just shove it in that vase. So the family are decorating a hotel function room, I would say.
Yeah. I wrote, "This is the saddest birthday ever." And you even hear her say that she organized the whole thing herself.
She said, I did everything myself. And she said, I even got the flights and the hotel. This is clearly at the Malmaison in Manchester. And where are people flying from? Oh, this is 100% a Malmaison. Do you think it's even as good as that?
No, I think we're looking at like, well, actually, yeah, you're right. Because it's kind of like, it's got the like, I'm going to put this in quote marks, it's got the dead funky kind of decor of a Malmaison. You're right. I thought it looked like a little bit more like cheap than that, but actually it's not got the plainness of like a Holiday Inn or a Premier Inn or anything like that.
Have I ever told you about the time a Malmaison hotel took its revenge on me?
No, please tell me.
So when I was in Scotland with Jesse a couple of years ago, we drove to Dundee to go to this fancy new Tate art gallery thing. And we're parking the hire car, and there was a Malmaison hotel right beside the car park. Now, the Malmaison hotel is like maybe like a 4-star hotel that has like a very funky style. It's a lot of crushed red velvet and deep purples. And they always have like funky metal door handles and everything. So we park the car. I'm like, I fucking hate the Malmaison hotel. There it is. And Jess is like, what's the Malmaison? I describe it to him. I'm like, ugh, it's disgusting.
Like, it's the worst.
It's the worst. We then go in to the art gallery, have a lovely day, have a lovely lunch. We get out, it's getting dark, starts raining, and we've got a flat tire. I'm like, fuck. So we then have to call like someone to come deal with the car. Where do we go and seek refuge? The fucking Malmaison. Wow. So we then have to like sit in the Malmaison in Dundee in the rain, like in the bar, just looking out the window as like the sun's going down and like a storm descends at the car that won't work.
It's like the hotel from The Shining. It got its like revenge on you.
I'm actually writing a version of The Shining that is just set in a Malmaison hotel, 100%.
The dulling. So in the prep, I felt like there was a very important little, again, some flashes to villain Michelle. She had some silly string, and she was just so poorly. She was spraying it in such a way where it was like, you felt her nasty intentions. It was like she had it like dripping from a chandelier. It looked like jizz. She was like at one point trying to spray it on like a Malmaison piece of artwork. I was like, Michelle, you can't just I know you're in a rock band, Liberty X, but you can't just trash the Malmaison conference room where Lisa Scott Lee's holding her 28th birthday.
But wait a minute. I wonder if Americans know what silly string is. Is that
no, they have silly string here.
Oh, they
definitely.
do. Also,
yeah.
the thing is, like, no matter what Michelle done, silly string never looks good. It's never about the effect of the silly string. It's about spraying it. It's the fun bit.
Yeah, you don't decorate with silly string. You use silly string in a decorated room to say, we're having fun.
But I tell you what you do decorate with. Maybe just like a little packet of like some glittery confetti that you cut open and you just sprinkle on a table.
I tell you what, I bet Johnny picked that up in Smith's when he picked up the card. But what the problem was is that he didn't pick up enough packets. So what you want like enough. I bet they said they were like little glitter things that said 28. And I bet like normally you get enough so it's like, oh my God, this table's covered in like glittery things. But that was a real light smattering, wasn't it? Just a few little glittery 28s on that conference room table.
Oh, I know.
And so Michelle tells Andy off for trying to spray. She almost gets it in her hair. Babe,
she just washed it.
Babe, I just washed it. She got it in that really too long pigtails.
Yeah.
Just again being like, oh, you might be 28, but I'm like 20. I'm girlish and like 23, Lisa. Evil Michelle.
So then Lisa's getting ready for her night out. Getting ready for the big birthday, for the big 28th birthday bash.
Talking to that blonde friend who I feel like we see quite a bit of her. I didn't actually quite catch her name. I don't know if you did.
I didn't, but we get a bit more of her later.
Should we give her a name? What's a name that goes with her look? Mandy?
I was going to say Sarah or Mandy.
We should call her Sarah Mandy.
Sarah Mandy. Okay, so Sarah Mandy's with her. They arrive. So she arrives at the overlit function room at the Malmaison in Manchester. They have like a fun evening. Now, we need to talk about her dad, Tony Scott Lee.
Oh, God.
He's a bit of he's there wearing his like wacky green wig. He's a bit of he's kind of like a character from a pantomime.
Yeah, he's an odd dog. Yeah, if this is a kind of piece of The Office, the comeback kind of reality high art, then that's a great piece of casting for Tony Scott Lee. What a weirdo!
What a weirdo! Nice, I think. Nice man, I think.
Seems nice, seems caring, but yeah, there's something going on underneath the surface that I really don't trust. And nothing says this show more than the moment where he stands up at Lisa's birthday to give her a toast, raises a glass of what I can only imagine is Asti.
No, I think she's bought. No. I think she's bought Moe. I think she's 100% bought Moe in those really thick, like Moe in really thick champagne glasses. That's how it's served. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and he stands up with his thick glassed Moe and just kind of goes, "Oh yeah, happy birthday, Lisa," and sits down. And everyone like toasts and starts clapping. You just hear her go, "Dad, can you not say a bit more than that? Oh, rubbish." And he's like, "Oh, that's fine." He's like, "That's really boring." He goes, "That's fine." It's just like no one around her wants to give her, and it's hard to tell whether she's just like maybe the things that we don't see are like obviously people actually being nice to her and her family and her friends, or is it that thing of like did she act like such a diva during her steps time that everyone around her seems to be really reveling in her failure, and no one seems to want to give her the satisfaction of saying anything nice to her or being nice to her in any way possible.
Well, no, her dad is her dad. I just thought that was a real dad moment. That's like something my dad would have done. Just like, cheers, my guy. And I'd be like, Dad, it's like my wedding day, or like, Dad, I was just born. I've just been born, and you've just gone, cheers. Do you know what I mean?
I would say as well, it's like, it's your 28th birthday. Like, who cares? Like, what do you want to do a speech about like the landmark that is 28? I don't think so.
Well, she's paid for it. She's paid for those rooms and those flights.
Where were those flights from?
That's what I want to know. From.
Do you think it was like London, London kind of to Manchester, maybe Norwich to Manchester, like, Liverpool to Manchester? That's a real hop, skip, and just a leap, isn't it?
Yeah.
Something like that.
So at that point, Johnny comes in wearing a brown leather biker jacket, and he presents a cake, doesn't he?
That cake.
So the cake, it had an icing figurine of Lisa on top wearing her outfit from the Get It On music video. And there was the Ministry of Sound logo in icing in the back as well.
Was she on a throne?
I don't know. She's on something.
I think she's on a throne. Also, it's worth noting she's wearing a tiara to this birthday, isn't she?
Oh, she's wearing a tiara. People in the room are wearing those really kind of plastic celebratory hats. It's all
Yeah.
go.
There's a lot of like, this is a very UK reference, but there's a lot of Smithies action, isn't there? Remember Smithies?
Basically Party City. They've been to
Yes.
Party City.
Yeah, Smithies is definitely the UK equivalent of Party City. A lot of cheap like orange wigs that people have put out. And yeah, there's lots of really quick shots of people having, in quote marks, fun.
Well, fun and also slightly murky brown shots.
Yeah, what do you think that was? I think it was
I couldn't work it out.
maybe what were those? What were the very like 2000s shots? It was kind of like, do you remember Aftershock?
Oh,
Aftershock was like menthol. It was so disgusting. It's like
is it like?
medicinal.
I don't know if this is quite the period yet, but was it like Goldschlager? That's
No, Goldschlager was no Goldschlager. Goldschlager was my brother's like favorite shot to do at that time because it had real gold flakes in it, and you know my brother has always been the bougiest bitch on the block, and he was like, "Oh, we should have Goldschlager. It's got real gold flakes in it."
I don't know what these shots were because also I thought, oh, maybe it's like that horrible kind of very brown tequila you would drink in the UK, but no one had like salt and lime, so
Yeah.
I've know what it was. Shout
And
out
it's
though
too-
to the party guest. There was the party guest. A shot of her. She's in the function suite, the function room. She does a shot and she's got a cigarette in the other hand. And she's indoors and it's 2004.
Yeah, she's on the cusp of the smoking ban. So we can still smoke at that point because that was after uni that the smoking ban came in.
Oh,
and
that's
it's
right.
It's too early for Jägermeister as well, isn't it? Jägermeister's further down the line as a shot.
Oh yes, I don't know what it is.
Oh god, I bet knowing the Scott Lee clan, it was like, do you remember all those shots that were like cola flavored and like like apple sours? I bet it was like a cola that aren't even real like alcohol. They're kind of like sugar and then like one little drop of alcohol. Anyway, so she has a lovely time.
Well, she does. She also has a wee after party in her room upstairs, and she's sitting there with Sarah Mandy. What's her name? Sarah Mandy. Sarah Mandy, and she's just saying like, "Oh yeah, Johnny calls me a baby wife. I like being a baby wife because I don't feel like an adult and I don't feel like a wife." And Sarah Mandy just turns around and says, "You're both, babe."
that little after party, just her curled up on a couch and Sarah Mandy and Johnny sitting on the ground, just looking at her. I was like, "Oh wow, it's 28, isn't it?"
Mm-hmm.
Now we get to my favorite scene of this whole entire episode.
Oh, take it away.
The morning after. We smash cut to Lisa and Johnny in bed, the Malmaison or the Holiday Inn, wherever they are. She just goes, "Oh babe, get us some tablets." Now we need to talk about this scene. This scene is definitely what I've dubbed the saga of the tablets. So Lisa needs her tablets. Now, you know, in the US, they'd be like, "Get me a Tylenol, blah, 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 blah." But back at home, you just say, "Get me some tablets." Everyone knows what that means. It's paracetamol, aspirin, whatever you want.
Ibuprofen.
Ibuprofen. You know, if you're smart, you'll have a paracetamol and an ibuprofen because you can take both at the same time. So what happens now is Johnny's like, "Okay, great." Johnny's also complaining that he's hungover and he's like, "Oh, what? Eventually he goes rooting around in their suitcase. And what does he give her? An empty packet of tablets. "Oh, babe, it's empty. Why'd you give me an empty packet, babe?"
It's like dangling a carrot.
This writing is just who wrote that line for her? Just like, it's like dangling a carrot.
And she's still got her voice is really croaky because she's had those corky shots the night before, as they've now become in my head.
Corkies! That's exactly the shot I was trying to say to you. Corkies! You fucking got it. Corkies.
Shout out to the Corky's cream egg shots that we did at university.
Oh my god. If anyone wants to ship, you know, some Corkies to our PO box that we don't have, do it.
Oh, so she's got a super croaky voice. She's also got her tiara still on as well.
Oh yeah.
And then we also someone else is waking up, and that's another couple, Michelle and Andy.
Yeah. So this is another villain turn from Michelle. This time she's taken down a different Scott Lee family member, her boyfriend Andy. She's, you know, he's in bed kind of going like, "Oh god," you know, again, he'd been hit by the Corkies as well. And then she just comes out with a pair of his pants, you know, US translation, underpants. She's like, "Oh babe, your pants are on the floor. Oh, your dirty pants." And then what ensues some really bad writing, I would say. With the Johnny and Lisa scene, high art. This scene, the writing, very thin. Just a real read thin back and forth between them about whether his pants are clean or not.
Yeah. Is Andy fit?
He is the biggest example of 2004 sexy or attractive. Like, his hair is structured in a way that you'd never see a hairstyle. There's so many angles and swoops happening, and like peaks and valleys. He's got those like too large cubic zirconia earrings.
Oh yeah.
He loves he wears a lot of like, I think of it as like a fancy like Burton's jumper that's thin with nothing underneath. So it's a thin V-neck fancy jumper that I think most people would have worn with like a shirt underneath to like the office. But he just wears them with nothing underneath to show his little chest.
Yeah, really like shows off his silhouette.
Yeah, he does. He is a big fan of his décolletage, actually, Andy Scott Lee.
Oh,
He does a lot of that.
He's got very dark hair, and he's very tanned as well.
Yeah. He's very like boy band. He's 2000s boy band attractive for sure. Like if you look too closely, you start to really see the real him. But like in motion, you're like, oh, he's cute, and then he's gone, and you're like, oh, he's gone. He must have been cute.
I mean, after a couple of quirky shots, yeah.
Right, should we move on to the next scenelet? What did you call this one?
I called this 2 days to single release.
I called this one Back on the Road.
Oh.
This is where they're really starting to just savage her like at every possible turn that they can. The first thing we see of her back on the road, it's like 2 days to single release. It's like, okay, pressure's really on. First thing you hear is her just being like, they've got the wrong version of the song.
Because she's backstage. This is GAY, isn't it?
For sure. If it's not GAY, it's another regional gay club. Like a big regional gay club.
I'm pretty sure it's JY, which for listeners out there was a big legendary club night in London that Fraser and I definitely went to a few times before it got knocked down to build a train station.
What's she wearing? Let's talk about this outfit.
So she's wearing
two outfits.
Well, I've worked it out. Okay. So initially, Lisa's wearing this kind of like very shiny hot pink outfit that's got lots of cutouts, and she's got one matching shiny pink glove. But then on top, I think she's wearing a rainbow dress that I think halfway through her performance she tears away.
Oh, it's a reveal.
I think it's a reveal. All I know is she's got her gay friend there, and the gay friend claims the outfit was their idea from when they got drunk at the Ivy.
Yes, I loved that. Did you also see that when she went on stage, she was carrying her handbag?
Totally made a note of that. She's carrying a mic in one hand, handbag in the other.
And you know what? You know who else used to do that? Aretha Franklin. Because Aretha Franklin famously would get paid in cash for every performance. She would put the cash in her handbag, and she would take the handbag on stage with her. And I'm talking like right up until she died. So any performance you see, she comes on with a handbag and puts it down next to the piano. And that's filled with the cash that she's getting paid for the gig. So I'd like to think that Lisa Scott Lee was taking inspiration from Aretha, and she got paid what do we think, the paltry, what are we thinking for her appearance at GAY? Do you think she did it for free for promo, or do you think she got an appearance fee?
Oh, I think she got an appearance fee because she performs,
like a devastating amount of like £500.
500, maybe 1,000, something like that. Because a lot of people would go to this. How much did we pay to get into that club night, do you think? Like £8?
Yeah, it was like, a lot for how old we were at the time, for sure. I thought of £8 as a very premium club entry price, because most of the time I wanted to get in for free, or £3 like max.
So, there's a lot of like backstage chat going on. She's kind of getting ready to go on stage. So there's this guy, I don't know who he is, this random guy, and he's talking a lot like to Nathan, the manager, saying, well, I mean, the thing is with Lisa, with this single, you've got the Ministry of Sound clubbers who are going to buy it. You've got the Steps fans who are going to buy it. And then you've got all these new fans. Obviously, you've got the new fans who are going to buy the single as well. So all that's going on. But then Nathan replies by saying, yeah, no, that's true. We've had good press, but we haven't been able to get it on the box.
Oh, that's an important thing to get it on. And listeners, he's not just talking about the box as in the television. He's talking about the box, the music channel. Very important music channel. I feel like it was number 499 on Sky. I think it was 499 or 409. I think you had to put that in to get the box.
Got it. It was just another music channel. I mean, I know you spent a lot of your parents' money like calling up the box.
Now, this is a little quiz for you. What was the song? I've told you this story on mic and off mic. What was the song that I got into trouble for ordering on the box?
Give me a clue.
We've said her name in this podcast so far. Mandy Moore, Candy.
Oh, okay.
Thanks to us, Mandy Sarah Mandy.
Sarah Mandy. Okay, Lisa hops up on stage with her handbag full of that £1,500, and she performs.
Yeah. Seems
She
to go
performs.
smoothly. Seems to, like, the crowd seem like they don't really care. Because the thing about those, like, GAY club performances, everyone's wasted. So, like, and those performances always happen at, like, midnight. So, like, everyone's just like, oh, yeah, this that's just great.
I did want to highlight her final pose. Did you catch that? So, like,
I did.
on the final song, she just kind of goes like, "Get it on," and she's standing there, sort of like half crouched down. It was very strange.
It was very. It was the kind of thing where if you were in concert and you froze like that and the lights went down and you walked off, it would be fine. But she seemed to be playing under what I can only describe as just the house lights. So it was like crouch down, then just get up in front of everyone and walk off.
Don't forget your bag. Don't forget your bag.
Oh, don't forget that 1,250 in cash. And then, yeah, she comes off stage and she's just like, you can tell that everyone's trying to, like, be nice and be like, oh, that was great. And she's like, oh, that just felt really shit. The crowd just, like, wasn't interested. And this is like the millionth time my heart broke for her in this episode.
I know, because she's not wrong. She didn't get a great reaction.
She really didn't.
Okay. But meanwhile, husband Johnny, he just wants to go home and have sex because he hasn't seen her for a week.
Oh, babe, you can't say that in front of everyone. It's so rude, babe.
Can't say my dad's over there. And her dad's like, what? And she's like, nothing. So, okay, so then she heads outside. As she's heading outside, you can just see her saying, let's go home to bed and have a bottle of wine, yeah?
Yeah, she literally goes, let's go home and have a bottle of wine. She really clarifies that she's going to drink the entire bottle. Or a bottle of plug for Lisa. What wine do you think she drinks?
Oh,
like an Oyster
Blossom
Bay?
Hill? Oyster Bay, Blossom Hill?
Or you can just imagine her having, I think Blossom Hill came out with like a peach flavored wine once. I can really imagine her being like, oh, babe, should we get that peach Blossom Hill? Give it a try.
On the way out, this is definitely GAY because she's then out in the street. It looks like those alleyways that we spent many a night just like tumbling around back in the day.
Especially like there's a lot of those alleyways where you end up like stumbling around once you either didn't get in or you get like kicked out. You get put into those alleyways.
Oh yeah, just like working like, is it this way? Is it that way? I can't remember which turn it is. Yeah, totally. All demolished again. All demolished for that train station that I don't think is open yet. One day.
Right.
So yeah, this is the moment. So she's out in the street. Fans want photos, and she's signing a copy of something, isn't she, Fraser?
She goes, "Oh, you bought lately." Lately, I've been going down, baby.
Yeah. So a fan wants her to sign a copy of one of her old singles. Not the current single that is coming out in like, what, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 days. Just like, no, the old single.
Lately.
And then as well, as she's like stumbling off to go get that bottle of wine, stumbling down that alleyway, she's like, oh, there's a urinal in the street.
I grouped this kind of these scenelets together next, which is I called it talking about Andy and Michelle getting engaged. A clunky title for the scenelet, but this was just really what the overarching theme of these next little mini scenelets were about.
Yeah, these are like 3 mini scenelets intercut.
Yeah. So this is where Nathan makes his first reference to being in Brother Beyond and makes one of maybe 5,000 references to the rest of this series of saying, oh, well, when I was in a band.
Yeah, because him and Andy are having a sit-down chat, talking about marriage, talking about, oh, wait, Nathan's very like, wait, Andy, you're not going to get engaged, you're not going to get married, you're not getting married. And Andy's like, well, obviously, the thing is, at the end of the day, using all those wonderful British terms.
At the end of the day,
obviously,
Not being funny, right?
Not being funny, but he and Michelle have been together 2.5 years, but he wants to get his career sorted first because Michelle's sorted. She sure is with Liberty X, the band. So he wants to get his career sorted first. Then, intercut with that, we've got Michelle and Andy just chatting away as well. Now, this scene, Michelle, I think she's in her leopard print pajamas on a bed, surrounded by shit.
100%. Just rifle. They're just covered with that bed is just covered in like crap. She's got like piles of this, and she's rifling through like letters and bills. Look at her flip phone. wearing those gorgeous leopard print pajamas. I was very envious of them. I was like, oh yeah, like a Miss 60 or like a Jane Norman set of leopard print pajamas. High end, you know.
They'd make a really good gift. Do you know what I mean? Really good gift.
Now,
well, wait.
Now.
Before we get to it, meanwhile, Andy's because I know where you're going. Andy's ironing. She's in the bed. What's in the background?
What's in the background, I believe, is a portable sunbed, which I believe Michelle and Andy get into bed at night and sleep under a sunbed.
Because it's just like a sunbed canopy. It's not a full sunbed. It's like a sunbed canopy that you could like wheel over and then just put over your bed.
Yeah, so you'd have to turn if you wanted to make sure your back got tanned.
Yeah.
It makes perfect sense. Like they're a tiny little like 1-bedroom apartment in like wherever they live in like, you know, Media City, Salford Quays in Manchester. And it's like one huge part of their room is taken up with this giant portable sunbed.
So they're,
babe, I'm just going to do some tanning. All right, babe, I'll do the ironing. All right, babe, yeah, you tan, babe.
Oh, babe, move over. I need to get my back tan. Oh, move over. It's time for my front. Yeah, a lot of that going on, I can imagine. Meanwhile, the third scene that's going on in this little kind of intricate montage area is Lisa arranging some flowers.
I loved this so much. So this was Tony and Johnny talking about kind of, you know, and Lisa all talking about Andy and Michelle's relationship. And they're like, oh, should they get engaged? Should they not? And, you know, there's a lot of that kind of this is very kind of totally Scott Lee, that kind of talk of like, oh, you know, well, Andy's just not very mature and she's just mature. And Johnny's like, oh, babe, you're going to say that thing, you know, about how, you know, how women are more mature than men. Oh, women, eh? And like him and Tony are like, oh, yeah, well, yeah. Just all of this kind of low level, like nothing is interesting happening.
Yeah. Like,
and while this is happening, Lisa's arranging some flowers. And, you know, there's this.
Well, she got all those flowers for her birthday, and they've probably still been in that cellophane since last week.
And then we get to just the cherry on top of this multiple scenelet. It's just, they finish talking. You know, they talk about the engagement. Are they going to do it? Who actually cares? Cherry on the top of this scene. She picks up the vase, turns to Tony and Johnny. She goes, look, guys, what do you think?
They both kind of go, yeah, all right, yeah.
She goes, oh, babe, they look great. Scene, done. Just like, this is what we're dealing with. High art. Just, I literally was guffawed out loud at that little exchange, and it was nothing.
It was everything. Okay,
so
this all led up to the scene, the meaty scene, not a scenelet, the scene that I'm just referring to as the midweek chart.
I believe I named the scenelet this exact same, and my first note is the most devastating scene. So this is kind of like, I would say, you know, for people who don't remember, people who only vaguely remember the show Totally Scott Lee, every moment they remember from the show is from the midweek chart's devastating scenelet.
Yeah.
Right?
I would say, because this whole episode was technically a pilot, okay? So they made this pilot, they clearly watched it internally at MTV UK, and then decided to pick up and make the rest of the season/series based on this one episode. Yeah. I think this is the scene that did it.
Okay. We'll start out with Lisa's outfit, because this is the clip everyone remembers. It's the most iconic outfit from Totally Scott Lee.
Yeah.
What's she wearing? Describe it to me.
All I know is that I think she's wearing jeans and maybe a white top, but all I know is she's wearing a glittery lilac furry shrug.
It's like a bolero. It's a bolero or a shrug, and it's kind of like a purpley, feathery like number, but also there's some kind of silvery sequins on it as well. I actually wrote Lisa's outfit and styling in this scene is iconic.
She's also done her hair. Her hair is done.
I was going to say, she used a dolphin's beak on that big time, maybe even bigger than that.
Dolphin's good. Well, a dolphin's beak. It was my dolphin's beak mini GHD stylers. Go out and get them. They were very versatile, because you could, if you had longer hair like Lisa, like lovely Lisa, you could wrap your hair around it and do like ringlets and curls. So I think that's what she's done.
I'm sorry. Dolphin speak really got me.
I don't know if you know this, but I'm actually also a beauty vlogger, and I've got a whole vlog just dedicated to the Dolphin Speak GHD mini stylers, and I just do different styles because they're so versatile. That Dolphin Speak.
Okay, let's move on. So the whole point of this scenelet is that they've gathered to hear the midweek chart results. So at this point in time, in 2004, the top 10 chart was still, a very important thing for the music industry because it's like single sales. People were still physically buying CDs. This is like a big deal. And then I think Tuesday nights is where you would find out how your single was. It Tuesday that they talk about it, don't they?
It's Tuesday. I was trying to work it out. So I think the way it used to work was did a song come out on Saturday? Is that when it came out? Or did a song come out on Sunday? And then here's what I think it is.
Okay.
I think a song, no, I don't remember. Because I was thinking the official chart was on Sundays.
Yes, of course. Who could forget?
So yeah, a song must have come out on Monday. But then
Wow,
so
so
basically the midweek chart is only based on one day?
Yeah, that's crazy. Huh. Well, any musos out there, any Zane Lowe fans,
or Zane Lowe. If Zane Lowe could get in touch, apologize, and also just let us know about the midweek chart from 2004, that'd be great.
Yeah, get on the right side of history, Zane. Okay, so this is where they're all gathering to hear where Get It On placed in the midweek charts. Oh, Lord. Okay.
Because the midweek charts would give you like an indicator of where you were going to go in on the Sunday charts. So it was just like it was like a heads up, and it was just for the industry. No one else really knew what was going on with the midweek charts. It was kind of just like industry level. Now at this point, Lisa, like the family around Nathan's there, and Lisa's saying that she's gutted that if the song goes in lower than 15. By that she means if it goes in higher than, like, worse than 15.
So yeah, she's saying she's gonna be gutted if it goes lower than 15. There's a lot of like, she's like, oh, I can't eat, I'm too nervous. She eating toast in this scene.
She's having like some buttered toast, I think. Yeah, she's having a little nibble, and she's all like dressed up as well, I think, because she's got like more promo to do later. Because remember, it's just Tuesday, so she's still got more promo and stuff to do.
Well, oh boy, does she have some TV promo to do that we see at the end.
Oh yeah, we'll get to it.
Tears of a Clown scene from the final devastating shot. Okay, so Nathan, sexy Nathan is, his flip phone rings and he gets on the phone and he's like, okay. And they just keep cutting to Lisa and she's looking more and more like nervous. And then she goes, it's not good. I can tell it's not good. It's not good. And I think Sarah Mandy was knocking around in the kitchen as well, or someone was. There was some other chick there. Let's just call them all Sarah Mandy. So there's Sarah Mandy and like Johnny and Tony and sexy Nathan. And then here we go. What number is it at?
Nath, just tell me. It's 23.
Oh, that's shit. Oh, that's shit. That's really shit.
No, it's really shit, guys.
That's really shit, guys.
No, it's really shit. And then Tony, her dad Tony says, "Oh, don't worry, love."
And then Nathan says the iconic line, "Okay, well, there's a lot going on in the charts this week. You were just behind Linkin Park."
and he just behind Linkin Park, and he's saying as well, we didn't get, much radio play, that we suffered from the box not getting on, didn't have much radio play. And then the iconic line comes out from Lisa.
Oh, but we were B-list at Capitol.
Can you explain what that is to both the UK, the US, everyone listening?
So Capitol is Capital Radio, which is a radio station in the UK, and they have different tiers of songs that get played on a rotation. So if you're A-list, your song gets played like 1 million times a day, and if you're B-list, it gets played like once every 2 days or something.
B-list isn't bad. It's like, imagine if like A-list means you're played 100 times a day, B-list like you're played 50 times a day.
Yeah,
I'm making up numbers, but it's something like that.
Again, Zane Lowe, get on the right side of history and tell us about A-list and B-list. Thank you.
Thanks, Zane. But yeah, that is like that's the most iconic line from this whole series, isn't it?
It really is. And actually, after she utters that line, she has to go out into the hall to like really get herself together. And at this point, I don't know if you noticed that they had like a plinth with like a gold vase on it, and inside the gold vase was like gold spray painted twigs. Did you notice that?
Oh, I love a decorative twig.
It was like a gold spray painted decorative twig on a plinth. So you really like, they weren't just on the ground. They were like at eye level. You need to look at these
But
gold
wait, I'm
spray
not.
painted
I'm not.
twigs.
I'm not there yet because also in the background of the scene where she's like her, Nathan, and Tony are all like Tony's crouched down. Hope his knees are okay. Like beside Lisa. In the background, don't know if you noticed, was the cake topper, the icing cake topper from her birthday.
Oh God!
Just
So
in the
sad.
background, there's like little Lisa in her Get It On outfit beside the Ministry of Sound logo, just like in the background, just watching over the situation. I love
God.
that.
They brought that cake back from the Malmaison to their house.
Oh,
So
it
depressing.
traveled really well. Don't know how they did that. Traveled really well, particularly because they were flying as well, as we full well know. But you're right. She does go into the hallway, and she calls Johnny. She's in tears, and she's saying like, 6 months for 23 is just not worth it. That's what she's saying. All
Yeah,
self-funded.
this is rough. Like this whole scene is so rough. Like it's something that gets laughed at a lot, but like to watch someone fail, in after being so successful is just so devastating. And
Yeah.
then this show, like you could tell that whoever like behind the scenes was just like, we got it, let's make this whole show and humiliate her.
I know.
So mean.
It's just not. Here's the thing. Like, she's not. It's just not nice watching someone that upset.
Yeah. Yeah. Some of the rest of this kind of, Lisa Kudrow and the comeback stuff that happens is very funny, but that scene itself is not fun to watch. It's kind of mean and mean spirited. So yeah. And then she's kind of.
Yeah. I'm just flicking through. I've actually got it on in the background. I'm looking at that spray painted gold vase/vase with the gold sticks. Now, I will tell you something. As we mentioned the changing room episode of You're Welcome America, decorative sticks are a bit of a struggle because you can't really dust them.
You just have to throw them out and spray another set, I think.
Spray another set. Use them as kindling in your fire. Oh, not in California. Don't want to, trigger.
Yeah.
But in the UK, use that as kindling, because you might not want to turn on your radiator.
And then this is when she kind of says like, oh, well, I've got to go and do TV now. And I really don't want to go and do TV and like do promotion when I know it's doing so shit, which is also really harsh. And then they cut to the final like scene of this show is her on TRL, is it?
TRL in the UK. They're in the TRL studios in Leicester Square.
Yeah.
And you can see in the back, Dave Berry.
And Alex Zane.
Alex
so many
Zane.
Zanes.
And then in the
UK
background, much like in the TRL studio in the US, it was like in Times Square, and you looked over Times Square. The TRL studio in London overlooked Leicester Square. So you can see through the window, bustling Leicester Square, including Angus Aberdeen Steakhouse.
Yeah, and they show her on TRL, and it's like the saddest thing because you've just seen her like life falling apart, and then she's on there like smiling and laughing with Dave Berry and Alex Zane, and it's literally like it is like a Tears of a Clown. Like I felt like they just play like a song over the top of it, and it's just like, look at this woman's crushed dreams while she has to pretend she's having a good time. Oof, my goof.
Okay, so yeah, at the end of the scene, we've got Lisa. She's pepped herself up because she is. It's very like stage school performer of her. She's like pepped herself up. She's redone her makeup, and she's like, okay, when you film me in 6 months' time, it's going to be back to square one. I need to reinvent myself. I need to come out with a new sound. It's hard work. It's blood, sweat, and tears.
Yeah, another one of our famous quotes from the credits of this podcast. It's blood, sweat, and tears.
It's blood, sweat, and tears. I mean, it's certainly tears. It's tears, tears, and tears.
I'd say I'm not seeing any blood and barely breaking a sweat on those get it on dance moves.
And then at the end of the episode, we see coming up next time. I just made a couple of bullet points. We've got Lisa on a train. We've got Lisa on a train speaking to Nathan on the phone. I mean, the fact that we're talking about that, we'll get to that in the next episode. But she is in first class. I can tell. She's got that little, little thing in the seat that says first class on that Pendolino line.
You can only get a single seat on that, the Virgin Pendolino.
We've also got a shot of Andy signing a record deal. Good for him.
Yep.
Very exciting. And then we've got a shot of Lisa crying once again. She's saying a tearful farewell to Johnny, who's going away for 2 weeks.
Oh, and we'll talk about where he's going on the next episode.
Strap on some wheels. So that's the end of episode 1 of Totally Scott Lee. Woo!
Oh my God. What a fucking roller coaster. That was a wild ride, right?
So the show is called Totally Scott Lee. I want us to come up with a name of every episode, a totally name, like totally something. What do you think the totally name of this episode would be?
I think this one has to be Totally B-list at Capital.
Oh, that's good. I was going to say totally set up, as in like just MTV UK are setting up. But I think you're right. Totally B-list at Capital, because that's everything. She is B-list. She's solidly B-list. She'll always be there. Fine.
Thanks for listening to this first episode. So we're going to be having a new episode of Your Welcome America coming out on Wednesday, and next Monday will be next Monday will be episode 2 of Your Welcome America presents Totally Scott Lee.
It sure will. In the meantime, please get in touch on our IG, just on the usual Your Welcome America Instagram account. Rate, review us on podcasts, listen to us on Spotify, do whatever you need to do. And come on, we need to get to double figures on our Twitter. Please get in touch on our Twitter. You're welcome. You are welcome, USA on Twitter.
Okay. And you just remember you can watch episode 2 of Totally Scott Lee on YouTube. So run along and feast your eyes on that Virgin Pendolino line, the main star of episode 2.
Okay, you're totally welcome.
Bye. Oh, that's shit.
I've got to be honest, I think that a lot of the time they don't seem to like you.
There's a lot of hard work and it's blood, sweat and tears. I don't know, if I suddenly get a guitar out, is it believable?
23.
Well, that's really shit.